Let's be real, if you're managing a supply chain right now, you are staring down an absolute perfect storm. We're talking about the simultaneous convergence of unprecedented geopolitical shocks, a massive, crippling truck labor crisis, and all this relentless noise about an AI supercycle that supposedly fixes everything. Exactly, but we need to figure out what's actual reality here and what's just marketing hype. So in this explainer, we're cutting straight through the headlines. We're going to cross-reference the data across global logistics, tech procurement, and labor markets to synthesize a real operational roadmap for today's supply chain directors. Let's dive right in.
I absolutely love this framework from IBM. Resilience is not a cost center. Fragility is. For decades, supply chains were built strictly for efficiency, lean inventories, single points of origin, literally finding the absolute cheapest routes possible.
Right, and as IBM's data makes painfully clear, that extreme optimization created a profound architectural fragility. So we're going to use this idea as our core analytical framework today. We're calling it the resilience matrix. We aren't here to just read you the news. We're evaluating every single trend and proposed tech solution through this specific filter. How does it actually impact your supply chain risk? And is technology genuinely ready to deploy?
So, here's our strategic docket for the briefing. We're going to start with the dual-threat supply chain. Then we'll audit the AI procurement paradox, tackle geopolitics and regional shifts, uncover the hidden cost of legacy operations, and finally, wrap it all up with our executive outlook and takeaways.
All right, Section 1, the dual-threat supply chain. Let's apply our resilience matrix to a totally new phenomenon we're seeing, the simultaneous collapse of our physical and digital networks. This is where we see a massive architectural design flaw in lean operations. Just look at the physical side. IBM's data shows tanker traffic dropping by a staggering 70%, oil spiking to $126 a barrel, and air freight jumping 400% in critical global corridors. But here's the real kicker. That is happening at the exact same time as a digital shock. We saw 18 U.S. tech firms operating in the Middle East getting actively targeted, hitting their cloud and telecom infrastructure. I mean, historically, managers had a contingency plan for a shipping disruption, right? Or maybe a separate plan for a cloud outage. But almost nobody built a system to survive both failing simultaneously from the very same geopolitical event.
It's honestly chilling when you cross-reference IBM's macro disruption data with what's going on in the workforce, because when physical routes break down, you desperately need flexible, domestic labor to reroute all that cargo.
Exactly. But look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics data that FreightWaves analyzed. The truck transportation sector is sitting at an 8-year low, just over 1.46 million jobs. We literally wiped out nearly a decade of job gains. So put that together. Your physical capacity to reroute goods is shrinking at the exact moment your primary global routes are being severed. It's a real double whammy.
So, what does this mean for you? Here's your localized takeaway as a logistics director. You must map your physical and digital choke points together starting today. You simply cannot treat them as separate silos anymore. You've got to build separation at those single points of failure.
For sure. And look, the natural instinct is still to treat things like an extra cloud region or a backup supplier as just unnecessary overhead. But the data says otherwise. IBM's research proves that investing in intelligent automation to build in that redundancy actually reduces high-severity downtime costs by 31%. Think about that. Redundancy isn't waste anymore. It is your core infrastructure.
Okay, pivoting to Section 2, the AI procurement paradox. The tech world is pitching AI as the ultimate silver bullet for all these physical shortages, and we really need to audit that claim.
If you go read The Motley Fool, the financial exuberance is just off the charts. You've got Palantir posting a massive 127% Rule of 40 score, and Nvidia projecting $1 trillion in sales by 2027. The sheer volume of money flowing into AI is astronomical.
It really is. But you have to contrast that wild hype with the ground reality we're seeing from enterprise experts, like in that Emerge report. Archistro CEO Rob DeSantis points out something crucial. Procurement departments are structurally designed to avoid risk. So sure, finance might want AI for these massive step function savings, but the supply chain teams, they're terrified of breaking their supplier relationships, or worse, causing a massive stockout. This fundamental misalignment creates what he calls a multi-year turbo lag in actual tech adoption.
Which brings us to a major reliability audit. Some AI vendors, and this was highlighted in that same Emerge piece, claim that predictive procurement tools can go live in just 5 days. I mean, is a 5-day rollout actually plausible for a major enterprise?
Honestly, no way. Let's tear that claim down for a second. Look at the data from the Hackett Group. Procurement workloads are projected to jump 10% while their budgets only grow by 1%. That creates a structural 9% efficiency gap. These teams are completely drowning in legacy data and manual spreadsheets. expecting an already stretched, highly risk-averse procurement team to cleanly implement autonomous sourcing in 5 days without a massive change management overhaul? It's just highly, highly improbable.
Exactly. So let's run these solutions through our resilience matrix. We know from Ukrainian case studies that AI is highly effective at demand forecasting, predicting costs and avoiding deficits. That clearly has high-tech readiness.
Right, but that 5-day predictive sourcing rollout? The tech readiness is actually incredibly low, mostly because the organizational readiness just isn't there.
Yeah, the real sweet spot here, and this is pointed out by BP's head of digital transformation, is taking 4 to 6 weeks to run frontline concept labs. Combine that with Trinity Rail's strategy of digital twinning. That's where you use AI to encode the logic and decision-making of your retiring veteran buyers before they leave the workforce. That directly, measurably decreases your operational fragility.
So here is your localized takeaway for AI adoption, and this is absolutely critical. Ignore the 5-day instant rollout hype. It is a marketing mirage for complex enterprises. Yep. Instead, you need to architect your transformation from the bottom up. Launch 4 to 6 week targeted concept labs that solve immediate daily friction for your frontline workers. If you make their day-to-day lives easier, they become your adoption engine. And absolutely prioritize that digital twinning. You have to capture the tribal knowledge of your senior staff before the labor shortage hits your department permanently.
Let's move on to Section 3, Geopolitics and Regional Shifts. Because let's face it, software alone cannot fix a physical supply chain that's mapped to a geopolitical world that no longer exists.
For decades, the whole logistics playbook was based on global optimization. Everyone just assumed US-backed free trade would guarantee cheap, lean shipping routes forever. Well, that playbook is officially dead. It's completely dead. Leaders from Sanofi and Takeda noted in the Emerge report that we are entering a period of permanent deglobalization. Tariffs literally appear overnight, ports stall out, and global alliances are fracturing. You simply cannot assume a supplier halfway across the world will remain compliant or even accessible. We have to shift our mindset from optimizing for stability to designing for regional redundancy.
And you can see the smart money is already making this move. Let's audit this trend with some data from the Daily Sabah. DHL is investing 2 billion euros into pharmaceutical logistics. And look at the sheer scale of where those funds are going. A full 50% is being poured directly into North America.
Right. And why are they doing that? Because the constant threat of tariffs and geopolitical disruption is forcing major manufacturers to relocate production and stockpile the raw materials closer to home. They are quite literally buying local redundancy to protect themselves against global shocks.
So, your localized takeaway here is a fundamental shift in mindset. Stop trying to optimize a broken global model. You need to redesign for permanent volatility. Start by sourcing regional backups right now, especially for your commoditized parts, where local suppliers can actually compete on quality. Hit the nail on the head. It's time to strictly prioritize reliability and continuity over pure unit cost. Because let's be totally honest, the cheapest part in the world is completely useless to you if it's stuck on a container ship in a conflict zone.
Okay, let's quickly shift to Section 4, the cost of legacy operations. This next number is just staggering. According to a ClickPost report covered in Retail News India, the organized retail sector in India is bleeding over $215 million, or 2,000 crore rupees, every single year.
And what's wild to me is that this isn't due to some massive global shipping crisis or Red Sea blockades. These are completely internal, self-inflicted wounds. Simple delays in moving inventory between their own domestic stores and warehouses are locking up working capital and absolutely killing sales.
I mean, it is 2024, and the report notes that 85% of brands are still relying on emails and legacy spreadsheets to manage their logistics. It's almost unbelievable. Those manual systems are only seeing a 30 to 40% success rate on first attempt pickups. Meanwhile, automated systems are hitting over 90%.
Right, and when you bring in the crushing math of modern retail, I mean, look at fashion, where product cycles have shrunk from 90 days down to just 15 days. Those inefficiencies become fatal. Clinging to legacy spreadsheets makes your operations up to 5 times slower. You become mathematically incompatible with modern consumer demand.
Which brings us to our final section, the executive outlook and takeaways. It's time to pull all of this together, synthesize the macro data, the AI reality, and those regional shifts into one unified strategy.
Based on our cross-referencing of all these sources, here is our forward-looking projection for the next 12 to 18 months. Over this time frame, successful enterprises are going to have to fully hybridize.
Exactly. By Q4 of 2026, you must have your physical and digital choke points mapped out. Then, by Q1 of 2027, you bypass the marketing hype and launch your frontline AI concept labs.
Moving to Q2 of 2027, you should be aggressively regionalizing your supplier networks to hedge against deglobalization. And realistically, only by Q4 of 2027 do you achieve true autonomous sourcing. This is the real, actionable timeline to architect for resilience.
Let's lock in our 4 core takeaways for this explainer. 1. Map your physical and digital choke points together immediately to prevent cascading failures.
2. Bypass all that AI marketing hype and build real organizational readiness through 4 to 6 week frontline concept labs.
3. Transition to regionalized supplier networks to mitigate the permanent reality of deglobalization.
And 4. Automate your internal logistics immediately to stop the massive bleed of working capital caused by legacy spreadsheets.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. Knowing everything we've audited today, what is your move tomorrow morning? Because if you spend tomorrow optimizing a legacy system for a stable world that no longer exists, you are actively choosing fragility. It is time to stop optimizing and start stress testing your choke points.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for this briefing. Until next time, keep analyzing and keep building for resilience.